Hey guys, this is Rock King 3 bringing you another live commentary Forza 5, and today we're just doing a parts and tune on basically what this is a fun car. I would have to say that probably the most unfortunate thing about this game is it seems like the newer the car, the less competitive it is. I mean, I'm sure there's definitely some cases where that is not true. Not sure what that was about. Let me see, what did I say? I said, I'm sure there's some cases where that is not true. I don't know. I didn't like something I said. It's been doing that a lot lately. Anyway, this is going to be a 2014 Honda Civic SI. Very common car that I see around in Omaha, Nebraska. Very popular. Around in Omaha, people really like their Hondas. And they really like the performance cars, so you see a lot of Honda Civic SIs. What I was going to say, as I try to, I'm going to do just a couple laps on this because probably not going to beat my rival. That rival was like 360th, I think. And I don't think this car is going to get within a couple of seconds of it. It's just the way that it is. This is kind of an in-between car, not really a pure speed car, not really a handling car, although it has full tires on it, but I'll show you the parts and tune later. But anyway, what I was going to say is some of these cars, some of the newer cars especially, are actually easier to drive in real life. Drive them really fast, really on the edge, and in this game they're not necessarily very good. My best example is the McLaren MP12 4C or MP12 4C. I can't remember what it's called. It's the car that I ran at a track out here in Iowa, and that thing was really fast and it was really easy to drive through the corners really quick. Did not have oversteer, did not have understeer, but if you play it, you know, stock in this game, it is near impossible to drive. Now you can tune it so that it's good, but it's still not quite as good as some of the older cars that you can bring up in PI and put a bunch of parts on. Which I think sometimes this game doesn't do itself justice just because you can't race the cars that you wish to have in life that are, you know, brand new and be competitive on the track. I guarantee those newer cars are so much quicker on the track than the old cars. You know, even just stock. Alright, so this car, it does turn in pretty well, but if you stay in the turn too long, it actually has some oversteer to it. So if it's a really long sweeping turn, you have to kind of be gentle with it. And I did not mean to do that. Whew. I cut that a little bit too much. That Evo that I have up there is actually a pretty fast car. Kind of more of a speed car. And you see the Civic does okay keeping up with it. It just does not handle and isn't quite as nimble. Takes a little bit of advanced throttle control on it and a little bit of, not a full turn, but you kind of turn and then let off and then turn a little bit more. I mean, you don't straighten it out, but you don't turn it fully all the time. This would probably be a good wheel car. You see we're dirtying this all up. But I would expect, there might be a couple of tracks this does really well on, but I would suspect this is going to be a pretty tough one to get in the top 500 on just about any track. Although it looks like we might. If I do, well, I mean, it's not a clean lap, but if I do okay the rest of this, nope, and I just messed it up as I said it. This one would be really close to the top 500 here, this particular lap. But I immediately lost control and had to throttle control that around that turn. So you just can't go full out in some of those turns. This next turn's actually a better turn for it because it's higher speed, and I have lots of downforce on it. Quick little recovery. This is actually one of the better laps I've ran with this car. 235. I think I've ran a bunch of 238s. Yep, 238. 238.1. Alright, that's enough of that. You can see we're still 2.5 seconds behind that Evo. Or I guess with the dirty lap we were a half second behind. But it's still quite a bit. Those are the lightest wheels that they have in the game. Put a little gold wheels on my white car. You can try this car on a few different tracks and see if it does any better. But I say it would probably tend to be a little bit more of a speed car. Hard to say. I would imagine that would have been about top 500 there. Would have been close. So I did try a couple different engines. I tried a couple different configurations, but this car absolutely had to have the race tires. It just would not turn in, would not handle. So I had to give it all the handling I could get on it. So let's go through the conversions first. I did originally do an engine swap, but I could not keep the number under 600. But that's okay. We did all right with that engine. Drivetrain, I did switch it to rear-wheel drive. And then we have the single turbo. You could probably hear the whine in that video a little bit. Have just a couple parts here. I have the street intake. I have the stock fuel system, stock ignition. I have the sport exhaust. I have the stock camshaft, stock valves, stock displacement, stock pistons, and I have the race turbo, and I have the stock intercooler, stock oil and cooling, and the stock flywheel. Could have the race brakes, the race spring and dampers, the race front and rear anti-roll bars. Here's where it always gets a little bit different. We have the street chassis, some of that was a weight play. We had the race weight reduction. I definitely wanted that because it really made the car handle a lot better. It was just an understeering machine without it. We had the race clutch. I think that was like just a minimal PI. We had the race transmission, the race drive line, and of course we had the race differential. Alright, tires, we went with the race compound. I did try the sport tire, but it just would not turn in. It was not reacting the way I wanted it to. We have the stock front tire width, 225s, and we're going to have the full race width here. We have 245s in the rear. Like I said, I have the lightest wheels. It's going to be this fourth one in. It's going to be these Advan RG2s or RGIIs. You can do a weight equivalent of that. There's a lot of wheels that are that light in the game. This is another thing that I played with a little bit. I was originally trying with the stock rim size, but I could not get the car to kind of twitch and turn in. So I had the fronts at R20s, and I'll have the rears full at R20s as well. It seemed to make the car turn in a little bit better. I could not get the response otherwise. We have the Forza front bumper, and we have the Forza race wing on the rear. And that is all the parts. Let's go to the tune. Tune is 26 and 26.5. Final drive for a setup for that track was 460. I think I was getting close to maxing it out. Negative 3.0, negative 3.0 on the front and rear camber. Zeroed out the toe, front caster at 6.0. This one actually, let's go ahead and increase that right now at 6.5 because it did have a little bit of problems in the straight line. So I thought it'd be good to maybe raise this up. I just didn't ever get a chance to get to that. Anti-roll bars in the front, we have 10, and we have rear at 19.0. Had to make this car oversteer. It was not cutting in the turns fast enough. Springs are even at 453.5 and 453.3. I left those neutral because if I caused it to oversteer, it would actually slide even more. This one actually could be probably tuned a little bit more understeer. If I had some advice, if you guys want to play with it a little bit, move this one up in value and move this one down in value. So maybe just move it a little bit at a time. I left the ride height at even here, 6.0 and 6.4. That's where it was stock. Did reduce the rebound stiffness a little bit. It was 11.7. But I did want it to turn in a little bit better. If you lower this number a little bit, it'll actually make it turn in a little bit quicker. So I was kind of helping it any way that I could without overdoing it. But 11.5, 11.5, bump stiffness 1.9, 1.9. I left it, I don't think that's actually the middle. I think 75, and that is the middle. But I just have it right in the middle. Seems to handle pretty good. Braking is at 47 and 200%. Of course, change those to your likings. Did play with the differential a little bit. I wanted the deceleration to be a little bit higher at 44, and the acceleration worked pretty well at 39. Again, this car is going to be probably pretty tough to get in the top 500. If you guys take this car, take this tune, and improve upon it, let me know what magical part or configuration it was. I cannot seem to find what makes that car handle on the exits. It seems to have some oversteer in the exits. It's okay for me because I can kind of adjust to it, but if you find yourself really sliding out, you might want to play with those springs, like I said, and do a little bit of understeer. I'm going to put Civic SI B class. Kind of redundant, but I like to label them that way. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next video. Later.